In the dim winter light of late 1944, deep within the concrete bunker complex of the Wolfschanze, a German staff officer stands motionless beside a flickering desk lamp. The air is thick with cigarette smoke and the low hum of teletype machines. Outside, snow falls silently on the East Prussian forest. It is December, and the map on the wall shows the Ardennes front still quiet, too quiet. A fresh intercept summary arrives, stamped with the highest priority. The officer reads, his face draining of color. The words are not in code, they are the decoded reality. Allied forces know exactly where the Panzer spearheads will strike, yet they have chosen not to reinforce the sector. The implication is immediate and devastating. The enemy has not merely guessed, they have read the mind of the German High Command. This moment crystallized a terror that had been growing in the minds of German officers since the tide turned in the West. For years, the Wehrmacht had trusted the Enigma machine as an unbreakable shield. Invented in the 1920s and continually refined, it promised cryptographic invulnerability. German cryptographers, confident in their rotors and daily key settings, believed their most sensitive orders, troop movements, supply convoys, strategic intentions, remained hidden from prying eyes. They expected the Allies to rely on captured documents, aerial reconnaissance, and the occasional turncoat spy. What they never anticipated was a silent, invisible network that pierced every layer of their command structure, linking intelligence from every theater of war. Yet the truth was far more overwhelming. By 1943-1944, the Allies, primarily British codebreakers at Bletchley Park, supported by American resources, had turned ultra-intelligence into a seamless weapon of war. Decrypts from Enigma traffic flowed daily, revealing not only German plans, but the very thought processes of the OKW. American signals intelligence, especially after the full integration of resources following Pearl Harbor, amplified this reach. The U.S. Army and Navy codebreaking teams contributed intercepts from Pacific and European fronts, while cooperation with Bletchley ensured that intelligence was collated and disseminated with unprecedented speed and coordination. A single decrypted message from the Atlantic U-boat headquarters could inform decisions in Normandy. A Luftwaffe order from Italy could warn of reinforcements heading to the Eastern Front. This was not isolated espionage, it was total visibility, an electronic net cast across continents, feeding the Allied war machine with the enemy's own words. The contrast could not have been starker. German officers had envisioned a war of maneuver and will, where superior doctrine and rapid decisions would prevail. They had marched into Poland, France, and the Soviet Union, believing their communications secure, their intentions masked. Instead, they discovered slowly, then with growing dread, that every major operation was anticipated. Rommel in North Africa found his supply lines ravaged because Allied convoys mysteriously vanished from Wolfpack ambushes. Field marshals on the Eastern Front watched offensives blunted before they began. By late 1944, senior commanders like Guderian and Model confided in private reports and post-war interrogations that Allied foreknowledge seemed almost supernatural. The realization dawned. The enemy did not merely react, they knew in advance. The once invincible Enigma had become a liability, broadcasting defeat in Morse code. Historical evidence underscores the scale of this penetration. Between 1941 and 1945, tens of thousands of German messages were decrypted daily at Bletchley Park alone. Ultra provided precise details on submarine deployments, saving countless Allied ships in the Battle of the Atlantic. It exposed the German buildup before Kursk, allowing the Soviets to prepare the greatest defensive victory of the war. In the West, it confirmed Hitler's fixation on the Pas-de-Calais during the Normandy invasion, ensuring the deception operations held firm. Winston Churchill himself acknowledged its value, reportedly stating that it was thanks to this secret source that the war was shortened by years. American contributions grew critical after 1943, when U.S. teams mastered Japanese purple codes, magic, and fed cross-theater insights into the European struggle, creating a unified intelligence picture the Axis could never match. This relentless exposure eroded more than military confidence, it shattered ideological certainty. The Nazi regime had preached the superiority of the Aryan mind, the inevitability of German mastery through order and technology. Yet here was the Democratic Alliance, Britain with its improvised huts at Bletchley Park, America with its vast industrial resources and diverse teams of mathematicians, linguists, and engineers, outthinking the supposedly superior Reich. The transformation was profound. Officers who once dismissed the Western Allies as decadent and disorganized now confronted the evidence of a system that harnessed freedom of thought and collaboration. The rigid hierarchy of the Third Reich, with its competing intelligence services and suspicion of independent minds, proved brittle against the open exchange of ideas in Allied codebreaking centers. Through it all, one symbol recurred in the captured German documents and the memories of those who surrendered: the American ration pack. In foxholes and bunkers, starving Wehrmacht soldiers pried open tins of Spam, chocolate bars, cigarettes, and instant coffee, items so abundant they seemed miraculous. These small luxuries, dropped by parachute or found in abandoned Allied positions, became a haunting emblem of the enemy's material wealth. Where German troops counted every bullet and loaf of ersatz bread, the Americans appeared to fight with endless supply, backed by factories that never slept. The ration pack represented not just food, but the deeper abundance of a free society capable of mobilizing science, industry, and human ingenuity without fear or coercion. To the German officer staring at the decoded intercept, that distant plenty mirrored the invisible plenty of information flowing to the enemy, limitless, coordinated, unstoppable. In the end, the terror felt in those bunkers was not merely tactical, it was existential. The discovery that their most guarded secrets had become the Allies' daily bread exposed the hollowness of the Nazi promise. Superiority built on fear and control crumbled before a system rooted in openness and shared purpose. The war that Germany had begun in arrogance ended in the quiet recognition that true strength lies not in unbreakable machines or iron wills, but in the freedom to think, to collaborate, and to prevail through knowledge freely gained. That lesson, etched in the snow of 1944-1945, remains one of the enduring truths of the 20th century. When the mind is liberated, no cipher can hold it captive forever.